good day.
Today, I'm going to introduce the subject of oral communication. Oral communication is the process of expressing information or ideas by word of mouth. It plays a vital role in our personal, academic, and professional lives. This subject helps us develop skills in speaking clearly, listening actively, and understanding different forms of communication. It also teaches us how to communicate effectively in different contexts, whether in conversations, speeches, interviews, or group discussions. By learning oral communication, we build confidence and learn how to connect with others more effectively.
Oral communication involves spoken words and real-time interaction. It is personal, expressive, and allows immediate feedback. Its main elements include the sender, message encoding, channel, receiver, decoding, feedback, noise, and context. These components work together to make communication effective and meaningful. Define communication. Communication is the process of exchanging information, ideas, and emotions between individuals. It plays a vital role in our daily lives, helping us express thoughts, understand others, and build relationships. This process involves a sender, a message, a channel, a receiver, and feedback. Communication can be verbal, nonverbal, or written, and each form serves a specific purpose depending on the situation. Effective communication leads to better understanding, cooperation, and connection between people. In simple terms, communication is how we connect and make sense of the world around us. Communication is the process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, or messages between individuals or groups through verbal, nonverbal, or written methods. It involves a sender, a message, a medium or channel, a receiver, and feedback, and it can be affected by various forms of noise or barriers. Effective communication ensures that the intended message is clearly understood by the receiver. Communication is the fundamental process of exchanging information, ideas, or feelings between individuals or groups. It's a complex interaction involving a sender, a message, a channel, and a receiver, with feedback crucial for ensuring understanding. Effective communication relies on clarity, choosing the appropriate channel, and considering the context and audience. Miscommunication can stem from unclear messaging, noise interference, or differing interpretations. Beyond words, nonverbal cues like body language and tone significantly shape the message's impact. The importance of communication spans all aspects of life, from personal relationships to professional success, influencing collaboration, conflict resolution, and overall understanding. Different cultures have unique communication styles, emphasizing the need for sensitivity and awareness in cross-cultural interactions. We cannot think of a society without the use of communication. It comes from the Latin term communis, which means to share and inform ideas and feelings. It is the act of transmitting intended meanings from one entity or group to another through the use of mutually understood signs and semiotic rules. It also helps facilitate the process of sharing information and knowledge and develops relationships with others. The nature communication at its core is a dynamic process of sharing information and building understanding between two or more individuals. It involves encoding, transmitting, and decoding messages through various channels like spoken words, written text, gestures, or other forms of symbolic representation.
Nature communication is often described as a process of interaction, information exchange, and message sharing. It involves a two-way flow that creates mutual understanding through symbols like words and gestures. It is a social and interactive process that connects people and helps transmit meaning. The communication process refers to the steps and elements involved in the successful transmission and understanding of a message between a sender and a receiver. It includes the exchange of information, ideas, opinions, or emotions through various channels or mediums. The communication process is cyclical, meaning it involves continuous feedback and adjustment.
The communication process refers to the steps and elements involved in the successful transmission and understanding of a message between a sender and a receiver. It includes the exchange of information, ideas, opinions, or emotions through various channels or mediums. The communication process is cyclical, meaning it involves continuous feedback and adjustment. The process of communication, The communication process is a series of steps that enable the exchange of information between individuals. It involves the following key elements. The sender is a critical component of the communication process, as they initiate the process by encoding a message and sending it to the receiver through a chosen channel. The sender's role is multifaceted, and their actions can significantly impact the outcome of the communication process. 2. Encoding, the process of converting thoughts or ideas into symbols, words, or gestures. Encoding involves translating the sender's thoughts or ideas into symbols that can be interpreted by the receiver. The receiver then decodes the symbols in order to understand the original message. That is the process of turning thoughts into communication. The encoder uses a medium to send the message: a phone call, email, text message, face-to-face meeting, or other communication tool. The level of conscious thought that goes into encoding messages may vary. The encoder should also take into account any noise that might interfere with their message, such as other messages, distractions, or influences. 3. Message, the actual information, idea, or emotion that the sender wants to convey. Message is a form of communication that conveys information or ideas from one person or entity to another. It can be expressed in different ways, such as written, text, oral speech, images, signals, or gestures. The purpose of the message is to transmit specific content and can be informative, persuasive, emotional, or any combination thereof. Messages play a crucial role in human interaction, whether in everyday conversations, advertising, media, or in the transmission of knowledge and culture. 4. Channel medium, the method or medium used to transmit the message, for example, spoken words, text, email, gestures. The channel in oral communication is the medium used to send spoken messages, such as face-to-face talks, phone calls, video calls, or speeches. It involves voice and often includes nonverbal cues, like tone and gestures, to help convey meaning. Next is number 5. Receiver, the person who receives and interprets the message. The receiver is the person who gets and interprets the message. Communication is successful when the receiver understands and responds through feedback. Number 6. Decoding, the process by which the receiver interprets or makes sense of the message. Decoding is the process of interpreting or understanding the message received from the sender. The receiver translates the spoken words, tone, and gestures into meaning. Effective decoding is key to good communication. 7. Feedback, the response given by the receiver to show understanding or reaction to the message. Feedback is the response given by the receiver after receiving a message. It shows whether the message was understood or needs clarification. In oral communication, feedback can be a spoken reply, a question, or even a gesture like a nod or smile. Feedback is important because it makes communication two-way. It helps improve understanding, correct mistakes, and build better relationships. Without feedback, the sender may not know if the message was clear. That's why feedback plays a key role in effective communication. 8. Noise, any interference or barrier that distorts or disrupts the message, for example, physical noise, language differences, distractions. Noise is anything that interferes with the delivery or understanding of a message. It can occur at any point in the communication process and may cause confusion, misunderstanding, or even complete failure of communication. There are different types of noise. Physical noise includes loud sounds, like traffic or construction, that make it hard to hear. Physiological noise comes from the body, such as illness or fatigue, which affects how someone listens or speaks. Psychological noise includes distractions like stress, emotions, or personal biases. Semantic noise happens when the speaker uses words or language that the listener does not understand. Noise is a natural part of communication, but recognizing and reducing it helps ensure that the message is clear and effective. In oral communication, being aware of these barriers can improve understanding and make conversations more successful. This image illustrates the communication process and highlights that it is dynamic, continuous, and involves multiple key elements. Effective communication happens when the message is clearly understood by the receiver, as intended by the sender, despite possible interference called noise. Explanation of the communication cycle. First, sender, the originator of the message or idea. Second, encoding, the sender converts thoughts into symbols, words, or gestures. Third is message, the actual information or idea being communicated. Fourth, channel, the medium used to transmit the message, for example, voice, phone, video, closing parenthesis. Fifth, the receiver, the person who gets the message. Sixth is decoding, the receiver interprets or makes sense of the message. And 7 is feedback, the receiver's response that lets the sender know the message was received and understood. Lastly is the noise. Center of the diagram. Noise refers to any interference that distorts or blocks the message. It can be physical, for example, loud sounds; psychological, for example, stress; and semantic, for example, confusing language. The arrows and circular flow represent that communication is ongoing and interactive, where feedback leads to a new cycle of communication. For your activity number 1 direction, watch the movie presentation with the title, A Failure Communication, through the link below. Open a Word file and write your answer. Identify the elements in the process of communication. Explanation: how each element affects the communication process. If you cannot watch the said video, just think of a situation where miscommunication takes place between or among the participants in the communication process. https://u2.b/adox5lhijsb. C. 1. Sender. 2. Encoding. 3. Message. 4. Channel. 5. Receiver. 6. Decoding. 7. Feedback. 8. For your assignment, kindly search what is communication models and write your answer in your paper and send through the group chat messenger.